It began, as always, with a deep breath and a silent wish that today might be different. The page stared back. The numbers and letters marched in stubborn rows. But no matter how they strained, they would not stay in order. What is the use of a book, they wondered, if the words play tricks? What is the use of numbers if they refuse to behave?
Some stuff that was hard at my old school was reading and math. Everybody else could do it, and my teacher would say, "Come on, you can do better than that." And it would just make me really sad.
I got a lot of headaches from stress. It's trying to pull like a tire through a keyhole. It's almost like it's impossible.
At first, it seemed like simple daydreaming, but soon the whispers began. The unspoken worry in a parent's sigh, the quiet frustration in a teacher's glance. Something was amiss, though no one could say quite why.
All along, there was kind of this nagging feeling that something was off. And I just kept telling myself, he's little, he's a boy, he's gonna get this, it's gonna click.
The boys are both incredibly bright, but we weren't seeing that reflected at school. We were seeing signs of anxiety and signs that they were starting to shut down.
We would see kind of a loss of confidence and just not getting phonetic experience and being able just to decode things as quickly.
For these students, learning was not a gentle climb, but a sudden fall down the rabbit hole, head over heels into a world filled with frustration, isolation, and endless attempts to fit into a system that simply was not built for them.
And we were reassessed and we did reevaluations, and at that point it was just like alarms, alarms, alarms.
I'm dyslexic, so you could see the early signs. A little self-guilt about it. What have I done to her? What did I give her?
One of the first things we did was to reach out to his teacher and the school administration. As the conversations ensued, they continued to challenge me on whether or not any accommodations were actually necessary.
I felt like we got two different stories a lot of times. When she would go, they said, yes, we'll give her accommodations, and then often it was not happening.
A lot of the struggles were like that none of the teachers really knew what dyslexia was, and that if you told them like you actually had it, they wouldn't do much for you because they didn't know anything.
But the harder they pushed, the more impossible it seemed. Their child sat, overwhelmed, staring at a future just beyond reach. The frustration built, the tears fell, until hopelessness surrounded them, deep enough to drown in.
I was in tears almost every day. My husband was frustrated because I was so frustrated. Our last straw was when our child came to us and said, they keep teaching me how to read the same way for many years and it doesn't work.
A lot of days I would drop him off and I would cry all the way home because he was so miserable and he was so tired. I just started to feel like, is there any place for him in the educational world?
She would come home crying, saying, you know, I'm always the last one done on my tests and I don't like it. I think one of the hardest days was Lily came home from school and said, why am I so stupid? And I know you're the furthest from stupid. You're brilliant. And that was when we knew it wasn't the right fit and we needed to find the right fit.
I just started looking and looking and looking and talking to anyone I could. And finally, someone said to me, have you ever heard of Horizon Academy? From that moment on, it was all different.
We were actually out of town, but Lily came and visited, and she was shadowing, and Grandma and Grandpa were here, and she's like, I finally fit in. And
I literally videoed them and said, I want to move right now.
I remember the first day I walked into Horizon and they have the wall of famous people with different learning differences. And I remember Lily wanting me to read every single story. And I honestly got so emotional hearing the way Horizon embraces, you know, this isn't just a disability, this is a gift. And look at all these shining examples of You are going to go places.
He was a happier kid after just being in this building for 7 hours. The first thing he got in the car and said was, "I made a new friend, Mom. This is gonna be good."
Isla said, "Mom, it was amazing. I didn't have to explain my dyslexia to any teacher."
Man, the contrast from his walk out of his old school and just jumping in the van, and I said, "How was it?" And he said, "I'm tired, but it was good."
And just like that, the story changed. Lessons weren't riddles to be solved alone, but invitations to explore, to question, to grow.
Since I came to Horizon, I can read better and I can write a lot better.
Math was hard, and at Horizon, my favorite subject is TLC and math.
It's easier because I'm in a smaller group and I'm closer to the teacher, which means I can listen more.
It's a really good school. It helps me read a lot better.
I'm not like tired and I'm not mad because the day was like rough or a teacher like was mean to me or like any of that. It's like I just am happier after getting out of school.
Yeah, so whenever I started at Horizon Academy, like whenever I had to read like words like, and the letters had to be like that big, but now with the words are like that big.
In this place, learning became an adventure, not an obstacle. Every challenge held a key, every lesson a new door to open. But what if the story had taken a different turn?
Had we not found Horizon, we would have significant struggles. You're only as happy as your happiest child, right?
Creighton wouldn't be a happy, joyful kid. I would always feel like I was letting him down as a mother because honestly, I wouldn't understand what was going on in his little mind like I do now.
It would look a lot darker, their future in academics, than it does now.
But no family should have to wonder what might have been. The gift of learning should not be a privilege, but a promise. A promise that with the right support, every child can step forward, not as a question mark, but as an exclamation of all they are meant to be.
Our family has hugely benefited from the scholarship program. I'm a stay-at-home mom. We have 5 kids. We homeschool them. My husband is a federal employee. And so it was never going to be in our plan to send our child to a private school.
We had kind of settled where we were sending Arli, but I knew that it wasn't the right place, but it was the best place that we could afford at the time. And in my heart, I knew the whole time that it was settling. But as soon as we got that email for the scholarship, I had immense relief knowing that my girls were at the right place for them.
Scholarships here at Horizon Academy, we're blessed that we don't have to use them for Lily, but every kid deserves the same opportunity.
So scholarships not only are going to help impact the child's life, but it's also going to impact the whole family's life. I don't cry because my child isn't reading. I now get to be happy and gleeful that he calls Grandma on the phone nightly to read.
It is not lost on us that this gift came from real people who gave their real money to kids they don't know. It doesn't just affect our one child, it affects our 5 children, and it affects both of us, and so we're just really grateful.
One of the best decisions I've ever made is to spend the money on our kids at Horizon. And every dollar that we put into Horizon, I know is going to something good.
We've been here just a few months and we're already like, how will we give back to this place? Because this place has totally changed the trajectory of Henry's life.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine what could happen? Can you imagine?
They took a little second grader who was describing herself as stupid and has created this brilliant child that wants to be an entrepreneur. I think every other week she has this brilliant business idea. She knows the world is really at her front door, and Horizon has always helped open that door for her.